It's really made to be comfortable and enjoyable when playing it, and yet have a lot of sound when you want it to have it. It has a lot of new modern ideas and conveniences in the guitar that are not usually found in most acoustic instruments. Let me see if I can explain any of them to you while we're doing this. Most guitars have a completely glued-on neck. This is not. It's made to be fixed because every guitar over its lifetime is going to have the neck fixed. So this can be fixed in 5 minutes rather than 5 weeks. And yet when you look at it and examine it carefully, you can't tell that it's not actually glued on, but held on in an entirely different way. And for all the players in New England, you know and I know that as soon as winter gets here, you're going to feel sharp fret ends on your guitar because your fretboard is going to shrink when the humidity drops, which is when you heat the house. So generally you either put up with those sharp fret ends or you take it to somebody to have it filed and fixed. On bass-8 guitars, the frets don't actually go to the edge. So even if the fretboard shrinks, you'll never feel them. It's clean and it fixes a problem that's existed for hundreds of years in these kind of guitars. The end of that piece of wire, which is called a fret, does not go to the edge of the board. It's actually inset 10/1000ths. So basically the thickness of a fingernail. And yet you still won't feel it as a player running your hand up and down. Every other guitar on the planet has the fret go all the way to the edge. Okay, I cut the wood from lumber, and once it's cut, I sticker it. That is, put pieces of wood in between pieces so that air will flow. And it sits for at least a couple of years before it gets used. Every piece in the shop has a date on it, and that date is when it was cut. There's a date. That's when this particular piece was done. So this is 2001, so that it's pretty well seasoned before it's ever used. These are guitar necks that are being built for the next run of 7 guitars, and they're in different stages of construction. As you can see, one has been cut and rough fit for a guitar body. This one has not yet. It's also made for what's called the truss rod. There's a piece of metal that fits in the middle. This is a guitar that's in progress. It just is waiting for paint, which will begin in a couple of days. It's not together yet, but the pieces come apart. This is all Brazilian rosewood and maple. You can get an idea of what this thing will look like very soon. This is a piece of fret wire, and that's got to go into there and be cut very precisely 10/1000ths on each side, leaving space. The wood goes in this machine and will be bent to this exact shape.
And that's for what?
The sides of the guitar. It has to be bent. And right now, if you tried to bend it, it would crack in half. And so, with a combination of heat and pressure, it's bent into shape. And then it goes into a mold. This is the mold that the piece will then get put into until the top and back are glued on, making it a solid box. Right now it will be very fragile. This is 85/1000ths. This is the guitar neck and the way it's connected to the body. If you'll notice here, there are 2 brass inserts that fit into this tenon. And they actually go through these 2 holes in the body. And that's what actually holds the neck on this wood. This wood is wood that is unobtainable from any source. It was found in 1984 in Belize and was cut. There's only ever been one tree of this wood which is popularly called quilted or turtleback mahogany. There is no more. Everyone has been looking for the last 30 years to find another source, and there is no wood like this anywhere on the planet that's been discovered. And I was lucky enough to obtain some, so I made guitars with it. There's only a few, and honestly I made this one for myself. And so everything on this guitar matches, including to the mahogany here in the rosette, including the mahogany binding that goes around the whole thing. It was all made of that. Everything was designed utilizing this wood as the focus because it's so extraordinarily beautiful. And by the way, it does sound really good.
So who would buy these guitars?
Well, they wouldn't buy this one.
Right.
Because I'm keeping this one.
Yeah, yeah.
But normally people that would buy a guitar of this quality would be usually a player who is also a collector. And they would put it in a collection. Unfortunately, it would never get played like it's meant to be played. But that's what these kind of guitars would do, because these things can be quite expensive when you get this. When you have wood that is literally unobtainable from anywhere under any circumstance, you can imagine what the market brings for instruments that are made of it.